For the first time, the emerging markets and developing countries now constitute 56.7% of China's trade volume, surpassing traditional partners such as the US and Europe. This shift marks a significant reorientation in China's trade strategy and economic relationships. Several factors contribute to this trend. Firstly, China's participation in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, has deepened trade ties with countries in the Asia-Pacific region. In 2023, trade between China and the 14 other RCEP member countries reached $1.77 trillion, a 5.3% increase compared to the period before the agreement took effect in 2021. Furthermore, China's focus on free trade agreements, FTAs, with countries aligned with its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has expanded its trade network to include 154 countries, predominantly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. This network covered almost 40% of China's exports, amounting to approximately $1.3 trillion in trade. The strategic shift towards emerging markets is also reflected in specific sectors. For instance, China has become the world's largest car exporter, with a significant surge in automotive exports driven by markets like Russia. In 2023, China exported 840,000 vehicles to Russia alone, filling the gap left by European and Japanese manufacturers due to geopolitical tensions. The increasing integration of G20 emerging markets into global value chains has also played a crucial role. These markets have doubled their share of world trade and foreign direct investment since China's accession to the World Trade Organization in 2001. As these economies grow, they generate significant economic spillovers, influencing global trade patterns and enhancing their economic influence. China's trade with BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, has seen substantial growth in recent years, reflecting a strategic shift in its trade policies. In the first quarter of 2024, China's trade with these nations hit 1.49 trillion yuan, approximately $209.7 billion, marking an 11.3% increase year-on-year. This trade volume accounted for 14.7% of China's total foreign trade during the same period. In the first 7 months of 2023, trade between China and other BRICS countries soared by 19.1% year-on-year to 2.38 trillion yuan, $326.85 billion, accounting for 10.1% of China's total foreign trade value. Exports to these countries reached 1.23 trillion yuan, showing a 23.9% increase, while imports were at 1.15 trillion yuan, growing 14.3%. China's trade volume with the newly inducted BRICS members, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Ethiopia, reflects an important strategic expansion for both China and the BRICS bloc. Let's take a quick pause. Could you do us a favor? If you enjoy our content, please hit the like button. To help even more, leave your thoughts and feedback in the comments. To show even more support for our activities, please watch the entire video. We really appreciate it. Your engagement helps us grow. Thank you. China has a robust trade relationship with Iran, primarily involving energy products. This includes significant imports of crude oil from Iran, which is critical for China's energy needs. The economic ties between the two countries have grown, despite international sanctions on Iran, with China providing a crucial market for Iranian exports. The UAE is a significant trade partner for China in the Middle East. The trade relationship encompasses a wide range of sectors, including energy, technology, and infrastructure. China is a major supplier of consumer goods to the UAE, while the UAE exports petroleum and petrochemical products to China. As one of the world's largest oil producers, Saudi Arabia is a key energy partner for China. The bilateral trade largely revolves around crude oil exports from Saudi Arabia to China, which forms a substantial part of China's energy imports. This relationship is poised to grow further with Saudi Arabia's inclusion in BRICS, providing a more structured framework for economic cooperation. Egypt is strategically important to China due to its location and its role as a gateway to African markets. The bilateral trade includes significant Chinese investments in Egyptian infrastructure projects, as well as exports of machinery and electronics from China to Egypt. Trade between China and Ethiopia is characterized by Chinese investments in infrastructure, including railways and industrial parks. Ethiopia exports agricultural products to China, while importing a wide range of goods including machinery, electronics, and textiles from China. The strategic expansion of BRICS to include these new members is seen as a move to diversify and deepen economic ties, offering a collective market with a combined GDP that significantly enhances the bloc's global economic influence. The strategic expansion of BRICS to include these new members is seen as a move to diversify and deepen economic ties, offering a collective market with a combined GDP that significantly enhances the bloc's global economic influence. China saw a significant increase in the export of electromechanical products to BRICS countries, with exports surging by 38% year-on-year to 759.45 billion yuan. Notably, exports of lithium batteries and electric passenger vehicles grew by 129.5% and 601.3% respectively. China's private companies have been expanding into BRICS markets rapidly, with their trade volume reaching 1.36 trillion yuan in the first 7 months of 2023, representing a 29.4% increase. The trade between China and other BRICS countries is highly complementary, involving the exchange of mechanical and electronic products, labor-intensive goods, energy, agricultural products, and metal ore. In the first quarter of 2024, the trade between the EU and China experienced some changes compared to the previous years. Imports from China saw a decline of 17.8% in 2023 compared to the previous year, reflecting a reduction in trade volume. Despite this, China maintained its position as the largest supplier of goods to the EU, accounting for 20.5% of total extra-EU imports. The most imported goods from China included telecommunications equipment, electrical machinery, and automatic data processing machines. On the export side, the EU's exports to China slightly decreased by 0.3 percentage points in the first quarter of 2024 compared to the same period in 2023. The primary exports from the EU to China included machinery and vehicles, chemicals, and various manufactured goods. Notably, motor vehicles remained the top exported product, although there was a decrease in exports compared to the previous year. In 2023, the EU's trade deficit with China stood at 291 billion euros, which was a significant reduction of 106 billion euros compared to 2022. This decrease in deficit highlights a shift towards a more balanced trade relationship. However, the overall trade volume between the EU and China remains substantial, with China being a critical partner in the EU's trade landscape. The EU rely heavily on China for several critical sectors, especially those involving key raw materials and technologies. Here's an overview of the main areas of dependence. The EU relies heavily on China for its supply of heavy rare earth elements, REEs, crucial for the production of high-tech and green technologies, including electric vehicles and renewable energy components. China supplies 98 to 100% of the EU's heavy REEs, which are vital for manufacturing permanent magnets used in wind turbines and electric vehicles. This dependency is problematic given the strategic importance of these elements in the EU's transition to a green economy and its efforts to reduce carbon emissions. The EU imports almost all its supply of several critical minerals from China, including bismuth, germanium, hafnium, magnesium, and tantalum. These minerals are essential for various high-tech applications, including semiconductors, aerospace, and defense technologies. For instance, China provides 86% of the world's rare earth supply and is the leading producer of many other critical minerals. This dependency poses significant risks for the EU's industrial value chains and strategic sectors. China dominates the global supply chain for solar panels, controlling 80 to 90% of certain parts of the production process. This includes the manufacturing of solar cells and modules, which are essential for the EU's renewable energy targets. China's dominance in this sector is attributed to its large-scale production capabilities and significant investments in solar technology, enabling it to produce solar panels more cost-effectively than other countries. This reliance on Chinese manufactured solar components is a critical aspect of the EU's renewable energy strategy, highlighting the need for diversification and increased domestic production capacity. Despite ongoing tensions, the U.S. continues to rely heavily on China for several critical sectors, including electric vehicle batteries, solar cells, and semiconductors. The U.S. relies heavily on China for more than 80% of specific segments of the electric vehicle (EV) battery supply chain, especially in the areas of mining, processing, and refining critical minerals like lithium, cobalt, and graphite. This dependency is significant because these minerals are crucial for manufacturing EV batteries. a key component of the growing clean energy sector. China's dominance in this supply chain is notable. It produces 3/4 of all lithium-ion batteries globally and holds 70% of the production capacity for cathodes and 85% for anodes, both essential components of EV batteries. Additionally, over half of the global capacity for processing and refining lithium, cobalt, and graphite is located in China. To address this dependency, the U.S. has implemented several legislative measures aimed at strengthening its domestic supply chains. Despite these measures, China's influence remains strong. Chinese companies continue to invest heavily in overseas facilities to circumvent U.S. restrictions and leverage free trade agreements, further embedding their role in the global supply chain. For example, Goshen High-Tech and Contemporary Amperex Technology Company, CATL, have made substantial investments in new battery plants in locations like Illinois and Morocco, enhancing their global footprint. Similar to the European Union, the United States is heavily dependent on China for solar cells. This reliance is significant because China dominates over 80% of the global supply chain for solar components, including polysilicon, wafers, and cells. This dependency has raised concerns about national security and supply chain vulnerabilities, particularly given geopolitical tensions and trade disputes. In 2023, China exported 114 gigawatts (GW) of solar panels worldwide in the first half of the year alone, a 34% increase from the previous year. This surge reflects China's dominant position in the global market, where it accounts for 80% of the manufacturing capacity for solar panels. Most of these exports went to Europe, but a significant portion also reached the United States. The U.S. is also dependent on China for semiconductors and other critical technologies used in a wide array of industries, from consumer electronics to defense systems. China dominates the supply of key semiconductor materials like gallium, which is essential for advanced semiconductors used in defense applications, telecommunications, and electric vehicles. In 2022, China supplied 98% of unprocessed gallium globally, illustrating its critical role in the semiconductor supply chain. China's semiconductor strategy has led to a significant increase in the production of legacy semiconductors. By 2027, China's share of global legacy chip production is projected to reach 39%, up from 31% in 2023. This has positioned China as a dominant player in the market for these older, yet still widely used chips, creating potential vulnerabilities for the U.S. and its allies if China were to use this leverage for economic or strategic advantage. Moreover, the U.S. semiconductor supply chain's reliance on China extends to various critical minerals necessary for chip production, such as germanium and arsenic, which are also heavily controlled by China. This dependency poses a significant risk, especially if geopolitical tensions were to lead China to restrict exports of these vital materials. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching this video. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please consider expressing your support by liking it and subscribing to stay connected with our community. Your support holds immense value for us. You can watch another video of our channel, which is now on the screen.